How did all this start for you?
So, I kicked out of high school, joined the military, got out, went to college. In college, my brother taught me how to play poker. Kind of never looked back since.
And you played poker where?
I started off online. This gambling boat. It was like this gambling boat.
Gambling boat. I
think it
Gambling boat.
you had to be 5 miles off this gambling boat. It was like this gambling boat. So I took a boat to the boat. It was like this gambling boat. I stayed there for about a week straight playing, and I had 187,000. Made about $10,000, and then took that to like this gambling boat, and I played for 54 million.
A rowboat.
Yeah, a rowboat, and then flew back and started doing well. Just because I'm always honest. And
54 million.
yeah. And
54 million.
yeah.
54 million. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the most money you ever won in a game?
In one session, 10.8 million. One guy for 54 million. You know, I'm not like a lot of the LA guys. I told a buddy of mine I bet him $5 million. Life is more about setup.
Do you ever think, Dan, to yourself that you're using them?
Life is more about setup. Yeah.
Why would people play with you?
I do tons of charity that I don't really talk about. I mean, I beat him for 7 million that pot at maybe 8 million, but he ended up folding for the last like 10, which is crazy. It's been done before. Every one of my parties, I got, you know, these amputee guys come. Yeah, I actually paid one chick to fuck one of these guys. I didn't tell him that. That's kind of fucked up, maybe. But 3.6 million, 3 different occasions. When I have these pool parties, I'd have like 30 amputee guys coming, and
You don't think you use them?
like 200 to 300 girls.
Do you ever think, Dan, to yourself that you're using them?
Not really, because it's been done before.
How old are you?
For 54 million.
54 million.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Okay, that's a pretty good question. I guess like it started in, I don't know, maybe like 2012. I don't know, kind of snowballed. Like, I guess probably immortality, maybe. You know, promoters, manicures, pedicures, masseuses.
You make your money from poker.
The same thing about Hugh Hefner, right?
So how did you get into this Instagram and women and guns? How did all that spread out from poker?
So I just started, I don't know, I mean, it's kind of like a long story, but I started doing all like the bucket list stuff. You know,
Yeah, and one of the bucket lists is women. And how did you get into all these things? Pictures with women, women crowding around you. For example, Femme magazine said he objectifies women on a mainstream platform, normalizing women as background rather than as actual human beings. In other words, you make women, according to them, props.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I just take pictures and the women are there, so I don't know. I mean, it's all up to interpretation. I mean, people can.
What is your interpretation?
That, you know, I have a bunch of women hanging around. I don't know, I've just had them since I was like 6 years old. You know, I wanted to like set it up so that I could get laid without like having a bunch of conversations and dates and whatnot. So if a hot girl goes to a bar and she gets hit on 10 times, she can go home and sleep like a baby and not hook up with anybody. But if she goes to the bar and nobody pays attention to her, nobody talks to her, then she almost like has to like hook up with somebody to feel validated a little bit. So these are kind of situations where there's just so many girls that nobody was hitting on them, nobody was being aggressive, and the girls would like come to the guys. So it was kind of like a setup thing.
What do they think of you?
I'm 35.
How old are you?
54 million.
Someday, aren't you going to want to be? I mean, sex is okay 100 times. After 500 times, don't you get a little want to settle down a little?
Yeah, definitely.
Why do you like guns so much?
It's fun to play with.
Why would people play with you?
Depends. I was one of the first people that played like real loose aggressive, so people are killing people all over the place, right? I mean, wasn't there just some guy that like ran into a bunch of people with a bus in Paris? And I mean, there's bombings and people killing people with knives, and I mean, people are dying all the time. I mean, you know, it's like...
Do you favor any aspect of gun control?
Definitely not that often.
You favor background check?
Definitely not that often. There's more people that die, you know, from drunk driving and, you know, stuff like that. And
I guess you're supporting Trump, I guess? I'm guessing.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely, yeah. I mean, you know, One thing I do like is the fact that he's kind of raw and unfiltered, and he's not a very good candidate. So I think some people are gonna certainly, love or hate.
You think you're a good role model for young men?
Certainly. But there's some good and bad. Yeah.
Do you lose?
I actually never really made that claim, but no, I don't know where they get these statistics, but I mean, I think I made maybe like 60, 70 million one year. I don't know. We're kind of polar opposites.
Are you a good uncle?
I actually never really made that claim, but no, I don't know where they get these statistics, but when I'm around, I am.
How did your dad go into prison affect you?
I didn't know, so...
You're no stranger to controversy. You were sued twice for allegedly kicking a woman in the face at a nightclub, throwing a porn star off your roof. Did you do that?
Certainly.
Come on, Dan, did you do that?
Certainly. I was at a nightclub, and I had, call her my fake date, and said, like, I want you to move, like, you can't stand next to him all night. And she's like, well, I came here with him, like, what are you talking about? Like, you can stand. I came here with him, like, I'm not moving. Rather than, like, discuss it or anything, grabs her by the hair and rips her off the stage, goes off the stage with her 5 feet down, and then starts punching her. I mean, I did what I had to do, and I grabbed my girl and brought her back up on the stage, and it was just like one of those things. I mean, look, my girl is getting attacked, unprovoked.
What'd you do?
By another girl,
And what about the porn star off the roof?
So she decides, for some weird reason, to grab the back of my shirt. And if you know anything about fabric, if you grab the center of somebody's shirt to rip out an 8-inch circle, like, not on the seam, I mean, it takes a lot of force. And thank God I, threw as hard as I could, because the accident was 100% her fault. I mean, she just had to not hang on.
She had the fabric in her hand?
Yeah, she literally, I mean, I have the shirt to this day. She literally ripped out an 8-inch thing, and and then all of a sudden, she goes on TMZ, and, according to her, she can't work, even though on Twitter she had 3 dicks in her.
Where does it stand now?
2 days later. We went to court, we battled it out, and had 3 dicks in her.
Where does it stand now?
2 days later. So it's done, it's settled.
Is there things you do you don't like about yourself?
Can't take credit. Basically, yeah, it's combat veterans that have been in combat, and people, in combat. And we were at the breakfast table, and I had forgotten. I was pretty hungover. And I remember looking over at this guy, and he's smiling. And I was pretty hungover. And I remember looking. I just looked at him, I'm like, fuck, man, I really respect that you got such a good attitude, And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, fuck, you're amazing, you know what I mean? That you're just like, fuck, you've just always been cool, you've always been happy every time I'm hanging out with you, And he said to me, he's like, I was just like, what? And he's like, yeah, he's like, another guy living in Idaho, and he's like, I'm here with you.
And last night.
Fuck, man, that's awesome, and at that moment, I just like.
Now, is it true you suffered multiple heart attacks?
Yeah.
How many?
I don't know. I've just had them since I was like 6 years old.
Do you worry about longevity?
No. Yeah. No. Oh, they said it was just the drugs. I don't know. I've just had them since I was like 6 years old.
Childhood celebrity crush?
Probably Pamela Anderson.
Current celebrity crush?
She doesn't know too much about stem cells. I don't know who are hot chicks. Probably Pamela Anderson.
Do you have any role models or mentors?
Probably Pamela Anderson.
Is Hugh Hefner a hero to you? With you, what could be?
I don't really feel a lot of guilt. I have a lot of pleasure
about anything, do you?
I mean, no, I definitely do. I just.
Are there days you say, "Why did I do that?"
Yeah, there are. There's a lot of days.
What's something people get wrong about you?
I'm just fucked up all the time. Like I'm drinking all the time, or.
You drink a lot?
Yeah, for me.
You got too much to pay attention to.
Well, I always for me, it was like I always went out to get laid, you know, and so like a lot of guys when they go out, they need to get laid. But I just got to a point where I just didn't really have to work at all.
How many times do you think you've had sex at age 35?
I mean, thousands of times, yeah.
What are you embarrassed to admit you watch or enjoy?
I'm not really too embarrassed to much. I just always just put my cards on the table and just accept me for who I am type of
Do you have a secret talent?
You know, most of my stuff's pretty wide open.
When was the last time you cried? If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
I guess probably.
Yeah, that's not bad. Biggest risk you've ever taken?
I guess there's been multiple times where I kind of just like put all my money on the table and gamble with like every dollar I had. Pretty big
Do you
risk.
act the same whether you win or lose?
No, absolutely not.
What do you think you're famous for? Why do people follow you? 19 million. Why do you think they follow you?
Well, because I just kind of did what most people would want to do. I feel like if they won the lottery. I mean, there was like, you know, snorting coke off a girl's tits. I think there was actually even a goat having sex with a girl. I didn't say no to it, but I didn't think of that. I can't take credit for that one. And I kind of lived like an asshole for a while. And
do you like women?
yeah, of course I like women. It'd be kind of crazy to surround yourself with people you hate, right? I mean, like I said before, I think there's, you know, girl. I feel like a lot of times girls are using me. Like a lot of times girls use me. I get used all the time. It's kind of crazy, but I can't really. And they injected me with 25 vials of Novocaine, and it just cycled through my system, just like boom, boom, boom. The first time I took it, I had kind of a crazy experience. It seemed like it turned me into like fucking Wolverine from the X-Men, because I had like some dental surgery for I had a root canal. I went in the gym like 4 days later, and I was 25% stronger, which if you know anything about working out, that's like a crazy thing. I have people sign NDAs just walk into my house. Yeah, I'm more generous with poor people, but yeah.
You're not cheap.
Definitely not cheap. I played poker in a game where I had $18 million in front of me, and the other guy had that, and if he said all in, I had to make a decision for $18 million bucks, so that's like pretty big gambling.
Is there anything you haven't done you want to do?
Yeah, there is. I would like to row across the Atlantic Ocean.
Row?
Yeah, that I could do that. And,
row?
Yeah, boat.
A rowboat?
Yeah, a rowboat. It's been done before. Like, less time than people have been in space, but people have done it, yeah. Yeah, and that I could solo row across the Atlantic Ocean.
When are you going to do this?
Well, I don't know. If he says yes, then I'm doing it.